I do this not for my planet, not for my race, but because you thought you could make the Prince of Saiyans a slave to your whim!
Hey guys, it's Ash here with WatchMojo, and these are the top 20 times Vegeta went beast mode.
Maybe you won't be such a disappointment when you're dead!
For this list, we'll be looking at the coolest moments where the Saiyan Prince completely popped off. Number 20, Vegeta versus the undead NAPPA. Way back in Z, the bald-headed Saiyan met an unceremonious end courtesy of his own partner. A few hundred episodes later, NAPPA returned from Otherworld, ready to exact revenge. The only catch? How his scaling had left him in the proverbial space dust.
You're still the brainless idiot who knows only how to destroy. One would think that a man with your experience would know when to call it quits, you bald-headed buffoon!
By the time he comes face to face with Vegeta again, he's not even worth his partner's time anymore. The Saiyan Prince fires off a single blast, and just like that, Nappa's second life ends the same way the first one did. The most impressive part of this isn't that Vegeta managed to kill Nappa twice, but that he looked bored while doing it.
What is this, a class reunion of evil losers?
Number 19, Great Ape Vegeta versus KRILLIN, GOHAN, and YAJIROBE. Nothing goes beast mode quite like a giant raging ape. So, just to assert dominance, Vegeta put the Saiyan specialty to good use during his assault on Earth.
Say goodbye to your father. You should be proud of him. It's rare I have to transform to win a battle.
Even though it was 3-on-1, it took everything Gohan, KRILLIN, and YAJIROBE had just to stay alive. Although considering that Goku himself barely scraped by, surviving is all they could have hoped for. It's just a good thing YAJIROBE cut the ape's tail when he did, or else Vegeta would have probably trampled the entire planet. After all, if this is what he can do against trained warriors, the rest of Earth didn't stand a chance.
You're all going to pay!
Number 18, Training with Trunks. As every father knows, the best way to bond with your kid is to plant their face in the ground. Or maybe that's just Vegeta's thing. He'd spent a few years apart from his futuristic child, but despite that, the Saiyan Prince didn't hold back in their sparring match. That meant going at it with the full might of Super Saiyan Blue.
Whoa! What level is that?
We call this Super Saiyan Blue.
It's pretty brutal seeing Trunks go down so easily, but it's even more disrespectful since Vegeta let his son power all the way up first. That's the kind of blow that doesn't just hit the body, it hits your pride.
Grading on a 100-point scale, I'd give you a 30 at best.
Number 17, Vegeta vs CATOPESRA. In the multiversal Tournament of Power, Vegeta didn't have time to waste on the small fry. Unfortunately for CATOPESRA, that included him. The poor guy really never stood a chance. In fact, he didn't even get to finish his power-up monologue before Vegeta sent him packing.
I'm 300 times faster and more powerful! Indecent fiend! How dare you attack me mid-speech?
Let's just say Vegeta gave CATOPESRA a quick lesson on why it's called a final flash. In CATOPESRA's defense, he at least tried to fight back, but not even his so-called ultimate form could save him from one of the quickest eliminations in the whole tournament.
You see now? That's what a real finishing move looks like.
Clearly, hell hath no fury like a Saiyan in a rush. Number 16, the GINYU Force goes down. It's no small secret that Vegeta is a bit bloodthirsty. But it's one thing to hear about it, and another entirely to see him ruthlessly decapitate Guldo.
I belong to the GINYU Force!
Not anymore.
That's not even the end of it either. After Goku gives Berta and Rikum a good thrashing, Vegeta makes sure they stay down, permanently. Jace tries to make a run for it, but not even he can escape Vegeta's wrath. If anything, the Saiyan Prince takes special pride in blasting that guy's head off.
Vegeta! No! No!
For those keeping track, that means Vegeta is responsible for murdering 4 of the 5 members of the GINYU Force. Remind us to never get between him and his pride ever again. Number 15. Vegeta vs Semi-Perfect Cell. Turns out all it takes is a year inside the hyperbolic time chamber to turn any Saiyan into a bona fide cell squasher.
I've come to tell you, your time is up.
See, last we saw of Vegeta, the androids had broken his arms and his pride. Throw in Cell's quest for perfection, and the imposing threat to Earth seemed practically unstoppable. That is until Vegeta arrived back on the scene and got to fighting. This time he didn't just wreck the creations, he made a complete show of it. It's a downright ferocious affair that ranks among the most one-sided fights in all of Dragon Ball. After a beatdown like this, it's a wonder how Cell's ego ever recovered.
You do take a punch well, I'll give you that. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm really not impressed.
Number 14. Vegeta vs Dodoria.
Why, Dodoria? If I didn't know better, I'd think you were scared or something.
Frieza's lieutenant learned firsthand that you never ever bring up Planet Vegeta around its namesake Prince, especially when you don't have the power level to back it up. To be fair, Dodoria technically won their first round, but his calculation for round 2 didn't account for Vegeta's sudden power boost. By the time Dodoria realized what he was up against, it was already too late.
You will pay for your part in this, just as Frieza soon will.
He tried to run away, but it didn't do him any good. Vegeta's energy blast practically melted Dodoria where he stood, and that was that. At the very least, his death was mercifully quick. From a vengeful Vegeta, that's the best you can ask for. Number 13. Vegeta vs Kui. You've got to give Kui some credit. He certainly knows how to put on a good light show. The only thing is that, to Vegeta, that's all it was. The Saiyan emerged from Kui's surprise attack without so much as a scratch. After that, you can imagine how the rest of the fight goes down.
He should have taken my advice back on planet Frieza. I tried talking some sense into him, but oh well.
Is that so?
The only thing more gratifying than seeing Kui sweat bricks is that Vegeta finishes him off with a single, measly punch. He even blows up the remains too, just to really bask in the victory.
Goodbye.
This is a textbook example of Vegeta's specific brand of vengeance. It's vicious, it's painful, and it's oh so fun to watch. Number 12. Vegeta vs Frost. Ironically, Frost is the one who got the chilliest reception at the Tournament of Destroyers. He fought, lied, and cheated his way to the top, but luckily, Vegeta was already there to knock him back down to size.
I won't let this prideless bastard walk off on some technicality. He will leave because I have knocked him out!
As a matter of fact, the Saiyan didn't indulge Frost for even a second. There was no lengthy transformation, no light smack talk, and no warm-up blows. Instead, their match started and ended in the span of a single punch. Sure, Vegeta's always been one of the 7th universe's best and brightest, but seeing him one-shot someone as maniacal as Frost is just a different kind of cool.
Don't worry, he's breathing. I intentionally pulled that last punch. I wouldn't validate that imp by stooping to his level, even if it was tempting.
Number 11. Attack on Perfect Cell. Emotional isn't a word that's used often to describe Vegeta, and yet, when Perfect Cell blasted a hole through future Trunks, the Saiyan Prince got mad. Really, really mad, to the point he charged him all on his own, odds be damned. Vegeta didn't even stop at one attack. He kept firing blast after blast until he burned through every ounce of his remaining strength. This is one of the first times that Vegeta is truly fighting for something other than himself, and the results speak for themselves.
Cell! Come out! If you don't, I'll blast you out of there!
If it weren't Cell on the other side of this rampage, this whole battle would have gone very differently. Number 10. Vegeta vs Zarbon. Dragon Ball Z. Saiyans have this annoying habit of growing stronger whenever they're beaten within an inch of their lives, and Vegeta has danced with death many times. The prince's first fight against Zarbon ended with him in a rejuvenation chamber on Frieza's ship, but this defeat only makes the Saiyan come back with a vengeance. In their second fight, Vegeta basically toys with the utterly confused Zarbon, releasing his pent-up frustration with one final vicious attack. Adding a new hole to Zarbon's stomach, Vegeta annihilates Frieza's soldier, looking mightily pleased with himself in the process. Number 9, Unleashing Hell on Goku Black, Dragon Ball Super. Vegeta is actually pretty prideful. The Saiyan Prince takes his Saiyan lineage very seriously and eventually even grows to respect Goku for his natural talents and hard work. So when Super threw out a fake Kakarot who constantly talks down to the OG Saiyans, Vegeta understandably gets a bit peeved.
You want to know what your big mistake was, Black? What mistake? It's that stolen body! Every muscle, every cell! His body was built from a lifetime of intense battles!
Their intense bout sees the prince momentarily overwhelm the villain, denouncing him as a legitimate member of their race, before showing him that Super Saiyan Rose doesn't mean jack.
You feel the power in those Saiyan cells, but you don't truly understand it, because you didn't build it, and you'll never learn to think like that clown!
Number 8, Vegeta vs. Broly, Dragon Ball Super Broly. This first big brawl of one of DB's best cinematic ventures finally allows Vegeta to erase the time that Broly made him look like a chump in that other film. Even with Broly's intense rage and unattainable muscle, Vegeta is able to hold his own even in his base form.
You're not half bad. This might end up being a pretty good warm-up.
However, once Vegeta gets annoyed, Broly finds himself on the back foot rather quickly. If that wasn't beastly enough, he unleashes his Super Saiyan God mode for the first time, and as a result gives Broly an intimate tour of Earth's mountain ranges. Number 7, putting the fear of God into an android, Dragon Ball Z. As the mighty Saiyan Prince, Vegeta can't stand the thought of being outdone by a commoner like Kakarot. The fact Goku became a Super Saiyan was a major blow to his pride, driving the prince to push well beyond his limits. Eventually, Vegeta managed to reach the Promised Land, and the Saiyan has an absolute blast demonstrating the fruits of his labor on Android 19.
So I guess it's true after all. Androids do experience fears.
Vegeta destroys the bulky machine physically and mentally, reducing it to a terrified mess before giving him an explosive parting gift. Overconfidence has led Vegeta down many painful roads, but this is not one of those times. Number 6, the first Final Flash, Dragon Ball Z.
So, Vegeta, do you understand now what I mean by perfection?
After stupidly and arrogantly allowing Cell to absorb Android 18 to achieve his perfect form, Vegeta quickly comes to realize that he might have made a big mistake. Faced with a much more powerful adversary, Vegeta bets everything on one ultimate attack, and it's a sight to behold. At this point, Vegeta is basically a wounded animal who's desperately trying to survive, and the prince bares all of his teeth with this extraordinary debut of his most iconic technique.
Final Flash!
What's this?
Despite it not quite hitting the mark, it's still an impressive sight to behold. Number 5, Majin Vegeta, Dragon Ball Z. In the years following the Cell games, Vegeta reluctantly settled down with Bulma and Trunks. While he never stopped training rigorously, he comes to believe that this newfound happiness has caused him to grow soft, and as such unable to best Goku. This makes Vegeta vulnerable to Babidi's influence, wherein he accepts the dark side power boost without much struggle. This Majin run represents the prince's last-ditch effort to revert to the sadistic villain he once was, a fact reflected by Vegeta's monstrous destruction of the World Martial Arts Tournament.
It's time, Kakarot!
Powerful as he may be, this is Vegeta at his lowest. Number 4, Pulverizing Golden Frieza, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. There is nobody Vegeta hates more than Frieza.
But I've already made my decision. I'm going to pulverize you until there's nothing left.
You dare say that to me?
The Emperor wiped out most of the Saiyan race, stole his birthright, and made him act as a glorified attack dog. When Frieza makes his comeback tour, the villain sets his sights on Goku, but Vegeta ends up being the one who puts the space tyrant in his place. Unlike Goku's tendency to fight for the fun of it, Vegeta only wishes to reduce Frieza to ash, a feat the Saiyan might have accomplished if not for Frieza's nasty habit of blowing up planets. Number 3, going ape on Goku, Dragon Ball Z. When all else fails, Saiyans always have the option to literally become beasts. After being bested by Goku in an energy clash, Vegeta throws a tantrum so big, he transforms into a great ape. Unlike previously shown examples of Uzaru, Vegeta retains his senses while in this form, a combination that spells near doom for Goku. The size difference and enhanced strength proves to be Goku's undoing, with Vegeta breaking his body down with mammoth-sized blows again and again. If he hadn't been having so much fun, then maybe he wouldn't have been so susceptible to that surprise backlash. Number 2, My Bulma, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. Rage has been a constant source of strength for Vegeta, one typically mixed with pride and selfishness. However, after becoming a family man, it's his love for Bulma that drives him forward when facing a tougher foe. When Beerus, the god of destruction, slaps Bulma, Vegeta erupts.
That's my...
Turns out that it doesn't matter who or what you are, you strike Vegeta's wifey, it's your lifey. This outburst may not be unprecedented, but it's one of the clearest examples of how far the former warmonger has come. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Vegeta vs Toppo. Dragon Ball Super. From the start of Dragon Ball Z to the end of Super, Vegeta gradually transformed into a mature hero. The Saiyan's incredible fight against Toppo highlights his complete growth, showing that he has become someone with a reason to fight beyond a selfish desire for more power.
Final Flash!
While Toppo abandons everything to become a god of destruction, Vegeta finds strength in the things that matter to him, primarily his family.
I fight for Bulma, for Trunks and Bulla. I fight for the oath I made to a fellow warrior, for my Saiyan pride. I fight for all I've built and all I am. Unlike you, I won't abandon all that to play God!
Flipping the Majin arc on its head, Vegeta takes down a god by embracing his mortal connections. Vegeta becomes such a beast during this fight, the Saiyan uses a self-destruct attack and somehow survives. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.